1/3 रिजर्वेशन होगी हमारे लोकसभा में। तो इसमें क्या होगा, मेरा ये संशय है, इसको अगर दूर कर सकते हैं, इसको अगर दूर कर सकते हैं हमारे मंत्री महोदय, तो आसान होगा। संशय ये है सर कि कुछ स्टेट में ज़्यादा महिलाएं चुन के आएंगे या रिजर्व रहेगी, और कुछ स्टेट में ये कम होगा। तो इसके लिए कुछ प्रावधान आप करेंगे या डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन के ऊपर ये छोड़ देंगे, इसके बारे में कुछ स्पष्टता इस विधेयक में नहीं है।
भर्तरी मेहता साहब ने जो विषय उठाया वो आर्टिकल 332A, जिसमें हम 332 में जो 332A जोड़ रहे हैं, रिजर्वेशन सीट इन असेंबलीज, इसमें मेरा यह कहना है भर्तरी साहब कि स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली में हम 33% आरक्षण कर रहे हैं। सीट जितनी होगी, जैसे मैं राजस्थान की बात करूं 200, तो 66 हो जाएगी महिलाओं के लिए। अगर कभी 300 हुई तो 99 हो जाएगी। तो ये हम ये सबके लिए।
गृह मंत्री जी,
मेरी समझ है ये काम डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन ही करेगा। सीटें कौन राज्य में कितनी होगी और कौन सी होगी, ये सारा काम डिलिमिटेशन करेगा। इसीलिए डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन को दिया गया है, जिससे निष्पक्ष रूप से क्वासा जुडिशियल प्रोसीडिंग के तहत, सार्वजनिक सुनवाई के तहत ये चीज़ों को तय किया जाए, बिन राजकीय रूप से होगा और पारदर्शी तरीके से।
माननीय सदस्यगण, इसके पहले कि मैं विधेयक को विचार किए जाने का प्रस्ताव सभा के मतदान के लिए रखूं, मैं सभा को ये सूचित करना चाहता हूं कि संविधान संशोधन विधेयक होने के कारण इस पर मत विभाजन द्वारा होगा। चूंकि इस सदन में डिवीजन नंबर अभी आवंटित नहीं किए गए हैं, अतः मतदान पर्चियों के वितरण द्वारा होगा। लाबियां खाली कर दी जाए। डिवीजन नंबर भी इसलिए आवंटन नहीं हुआ था कि आपके दलों ने अभी हमें आवंटन करके नहीं दिया था, इसलिए। संविधान संशोधन जो होता है मतदान के द्वारा होता है।
जितना टाइम बचता है।
Thanks everyone for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. As you can see with the visuals on your screen, the voting on the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, the bill that seeks to reserve 33% of seats in Lok Sabha and state assemblies, including the Delhi Legislative Assembly, is all set to be voted upon in Lok Sabha, the first house when it was tabled. Of course, all through the day today, we've had various political parties and as many as 60 members of parliament take part in that debate. Tomorrow it will come up both for discussion and voting in Rajya Sabha as well. Now, virtually all political parties have supported the bill today. They have objected to two things mainly. First, of course, the delimitation clause. The opposition leaders demanding that the implement
पर्चियों द्वारा मतदान की प्रक्रिया के बारे में जानकारी
and not after the next delimitation and census. And second, of course, is the provision for the OBC women.
Members that division will take place under Rule 367 AA by distribution of slips. All members seated in the Lok Sabha chamber will be supplied at their seats with eyes, nose, printed slips for recording their votes. Eyes slips are printed on one side in green, both in English and in Hindi, and nose in red on its reverse. On the slips, members may kindly record votes of their choice by signing and writing legibly their names, identity card number, constituency, state/union territory, and date. Members who desire to record abstention may ask for the abstention yellow color slip. Immediately after recording one's vote, each member should pass on the slip to the division officials who will come to their seat to collect the same for handing over to the officers at the table. Members are requested to fill in only one slip for division. Members are also requested not to leave their seats till the slips are collected by the division officials.
हिंदी में बोल दें।
मुझे माननीय सदस्यों को सूचित करना है कि नियम 367 क के अंतर्गत पर्चियों के वितरण द्वारा मत विभाजन किया जाएगा। लोकसभा कक्ष में बैठे सभी सदस्यों को अपने मतों को अभिलिखित कराने के लिए मुद्रित हाँ/ना पर्चियां उनके स्थानों पर उपलब्ध कराई जाएंगी। पर्ची के एक तरफ हरे रंग में हाँ और दूसरी तरफ लाल रंग में ना अंग्रेजी और हिंदी दोनों भाषाओं में मुद्रित हैं। सदस्य कृपया पर्ची में अपनी पसंद का मत अपने हस्ताक्षर करके तथा अपना नाम, पहचान पत्र संख्या, निर्वाचन क्षेत्र, राज्य, संघ राज्य क्षेत्र और तारीख का स्पष्ट रूप से उल्लेख करते हुए अभिलिखित करें। जो सदस्य मतदान में भाग न लेने वाला मत अभिलिखित करना चाहते हैं, वे मतदान में भाग न लेने वाली पीले रंग की पर्ची की मांग करें। प्रत्येक सदस्य एक बार अपना मत अभिलिखित करने के पश्चात तत्काल पर्ची को उस मत विभाजन अधिकारी को देंगे जो उसे सभा पटल के पास उपस्थित अधिकारियों को सौंपने के लिए उनके स्थानों पर इन्हें लेने के लिए आएगा। सदस्यों से अनुरोध है कि प्रत्येक मत विभाजन के लिए केवल एक ही पर्ची भरें। सदस्यों से यह भी अनुरोध किया जाता है कि जब तक मत विभाजन अधिकारियों द्वारा पर्चियों को एकत्रित नहीं कर लिया जाता, तब तक वे अपनी सीट न छोड़ें।
माननीय सदस्यगण, अब मैं विधेयक पर विचार किए जाने का प्रस्ताव सभा के मतदान के लिए रखता हूं। प्रश्न ये कि भारत के संविधान का और संशोधन करने वाला विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए। अब मत विभाजन।
So the voting on the Women's Reservation Bill is currently ongoing in Lok Sabha. It has been a day of debate and discussion in the House that took place historically in the new Sansad, in the new Parliament building. This is the first bill that was tabled in the new Parliament building, and this is the first bill that is being voted upon in the new Lok Sabha. And it is going to be a historic one at that, because this is a bill that has been tabled many times, it has been debated and discussed many times, but it just hasn't seen the light of day, certainly not in Lok Sabha. So the Women's Reservation Bill that is all set to pass now for the first time in Lok Sabha is going to create history. The Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam could well become a law by tomorrow, because tomorrow it will come up for debate and discussion and voting in Rajya Sabha too. Although it is not going to be immediate implementation of a reservation or quota for women as this bill envisages, there's going to be, of course, the next census conducted sometime post 2026, which is going to be after the next general elections, and then a delimitation exercise that takes anywhere between 2 to 4 years or more, and then possibly from the next general elections, which is 2029, the women reservation could kick in, although it could take, by some estimates, a little bit longer as well. But not to miss the trees for the woods, because it's important to realize that this bill has been 30 years in the making. Several panels have been looking into it and intricacies of a women reservation bill. In the meantime, we've had women's quota as far as rural body elections or local body elections are concerned. But as far as the parliament of the country was concerned, it couldn't become a reality. With this bill, it will become a reality for both the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies, and of course the Legislative Assembly of the National Capital Territory of Delhi as well. So all direct elections will come under it, legislative councils in states, and of course Rajya Sabha will not come under it, because those are not direct elections. We're just waiting for the results to come out. Just a reminder for our viewers, virtually every single party has supported this bill, even though they've raised objections on 2 counts. One, of course, the delayed implementation, because the delimitation has to be completed before this can be done. And second is the OBC quota, the demand for OBC quota within the women's quota. And I'll take both of those issues to our guests now joining us. Neeti Jain is from the BJP, Swati Malik from the Congress Party, Nahid Lahiri Khan is the spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Professor Subodh Kumar Mehta is the RJD's national spokesperson, also joining us. First up, let me begin with Neeti Jain. Neeti, the new Parliament House and the new Lok Sabha, and for the very first time, the Women's Reservation Bill is set to become a reality, at least set to pass as per expectations as this voting is going on in Lok Sabha for the first time. So certainly a historic day.
It definitely is, Shivani, not just a new bill. I think it's a new dawn for an entire section of our society, and this is something that we have been waiting for a very long time, but for whatever reasons it is now under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji that it has seen the light of the day. And I think it is a momentous day. It is a historical decision that has been taken. I hope all of the parties, and it would be a different high in saying that this is passed unanimously, and that is going to be great, but let's just see what the voting throws up.
Yeah, some of the parties like the Samajwadi Party and the RJD on the panel today also have objected to it in the past and today as well on the issue of the OBC quota. Now, the OBC quota is something that legally is not possible. Let me take that to Professor Subodh Kumar first. Your party is still going to be in support of this bill today, despite the fact that you have historically also demanded a OBC women's quota within the women's quota. But as it stands, because there is no OBC quota in Parliament, no quota can be carved out. That was the same position by the Congress government in 2010, and that's the same position by this government today.
Look, right from the beginning, our principal plank was that we do support the reservation bill, but that bill is incomplete, which has been introduced even today also. In earlier also the bill was incomplete primarily because we thought that, and we are totally, committed to the idea of social justice, that there is a caste within women also. Women does have a caste, and the exploitation and alienation of the women based on the caste system does exist in India. So henceforth our principal plank was that the reservation within quota should be there. There should be a reservation within reservation. That is our principal plank. But looking to what has been introduced in the parliament today, as I told you, we also extend it to 50% because half the population is women. So what is the problem in that? But the problem that we see is that the OBC has been alienated from the mainstream and the decision making process, and this has somewhat made a sort of thaw in the vision of the framers of our constitution, which has the idea which has been incorporated in the constitution of democratic decentralization. If you really think that the need of the hour is to democratize the whole system, then the OBC, which is the majority of this country, should have been also included in the women reservation bill.
Yes, but
this
you talk about the OBC being included in the women's reservation bill, but I don't see it as an issue that is pertaining to the women's reservation bill. The OBC quota demand first has to be implemented, regardless of gender at the parliament level. And let me remind you that not just at the parliament level it has not been done, and it is not part of the constitution. So it's important to recognize that OBC quota is not recognized in parliament as part of constitution. It needs constitutional amendments. It is not even being allowed in many states. For example, in rural or local body elections, some state governments... One second, let me just finish. Some state governments tried to bring in the OBC quota. Those have either been struck down or are pending legal challenge. Only one of them, as per my knowledge, was allowed when it was proven that it has passed the triple test, that is the legal test for a reservation or a quota on the basis of identity. But Swati Malik of the Congress party is also joining us. Swati Malik, it's also very interesting to see the Congress's volte-face or 180-degree turn on the issue of the OBC quota. Back in 2010, none other than Sonia Gandhi had said that nobody is stopping parties from giving tickets to OBC women, but at least let the 33% women reservation happen. Today, from Sonia Gandhi to Rahul Gandhi, yesterday Mr. Kharge, everybody demanded an OBC quota, but the Congress government never implemented it, never included it in the bill that they tried to get passed.
Shivani, thank you for having this debate, which is, I'm sure, being looked forward to by the entire country right now. So, I'm sure you heard the statements made by Ms. Sonia Gandhi and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Kharge, all of them. So, they are the suggestions that the Congress has given, or the questions rather that the Congress has raised, is not just about the OBC quota and the other SC/ST quota, not just this quota, but also the fact about the implementation of this act. When is it going to actually come into power practically? When is it actually going to be implemented? So we are also asking those questions. We are also asking how many more years is going to wait? Why is the census not taken? And do we have to wait for the census and delimitation? Of course, we all heard Mr. Amit Shah make his statement, the Home Minister make his statement about why delimitation is required.
Yes.
That's the kind of, yes, we all heard that. But then why did the government not bring up this bill or not pass this bill with that thundering majority that they have? They don't even need the support of opposition or vote of opposition like we needed.
If the government, the tricky thing about this delimitation clause is that even if the government had passed it earlier, they still would have had to wait for the census to be completed and the delimitation to be completed. So actually that argument has become moot now, whether this would have been passed 5 years ago or 4 years ago or today. But I'm not discussing delimitation today, Swati. I am discussing the demand for the OBC quota. Is it not unfair and duplicitous on the part of the Congress party to, not do OBC quota within this quota when you were in power, but suddenly demand that today?
No. See, even when we were in power and we brought up the bill, please understand there was a committee that was set up as well, before which this bill went and it was discussed and then it was formulated, right?
Yeah, and what did that committee say?
No. That committee was also not just the Congress, it had opposition members as well.
My argument, so
it has opposition members as well.
Yes.
And of course now, yes. So it had everybody's consensus that time. Why, the same way we can ask the BJP, why did they not support the bill that time? Why did they not vote for it that time?
The BJP supported the bill at that time.
What was the result of that committee?
But let me just clarify. Since you mentioned that panel, let me clarify. This issue of the OBC inclusion did come up between the Geeta Mukherjee-led panel. That panel made 8 recommendations. Some of them were included in the final draft that the UPA brought in. But on the inclusion of the OBC quota, the panel said the quota for ST/ST is available under Constitution, but there is no provision for OBC reservation in Constitution. Quota for OBC women can be extended at an appropriate time. Sub-quota for OBCs can only be given after the Constitution permits. That permission hasn't happened under the Constitution for an OBC quota. So I'm not understanding why politicians who are lawmakers themselves in Parliament raising a demand which is illegal. That's both in the case of delimitation and on the case of the OBC quota. Nahid from the Samajwadi Party hasn't spoken. Yes, Nahid ji, this is a political demand above legality. The OBC quota is not permissible.
Shivani ji, when BJP could make amendments in the bill for SC/ST women reservation, then why couldn't BJP bring amendment for the OBC women reservation? Why is BJP anti-OBC? Anybody in India raises voice for OBC and SC/ST. BJP has a problem. BJP starts saying, "Kyun bol rahe hain? Kyun bol rahe hain?" Why is BJP so anti-OBC, SC/ST? They should
One second, I just have to come in. I'll give you your time, but I just have to come in again. The SC/ST provision was there in the 2010 bill too, because SC/ST is provided for in Parliament as a quota. The government has only brought that back. The OBC quota was not there then, it is not there today because it is not permissible under our constitution. You can continue.
No. As far as I know, that they have brought about an amendment for SC/ST women reservation.
No.
So
The SC/ST provision,
included the OBC
ma'am,
women
the
reservation
SC/ST
as well.
provision of the quota
Shivani.
for SC/ST women within the reservation was there in 2010 also. It is there today also. That's the same. Let her finish her argument, Swati. I'll come back to you.
See, what I was saying, that why is BJP anti-OBC, SC/ST? BJP should understand that OBC, SC/ST are the only ones who... If I cannot speak, then I'll leave the debate. No, either you interrupt or somebody else will interrupt. I'll leave the debate. You're doing it purposely, so I forget what I have to speak. Agar bolne dena, to let me stay in the debate or else I leave.
That was Neeti Jain who was wanting to make an argument. You please go ahead, then I'll go across to her.
See, why is BJP anti-SC/ST and OBC? Because BJP should understand that OBC, SC/ST, they are the main inhabitants. They are the main inhabitants of India. Only and only they are the main inhabitants of India, and they have the right on all the posts, be it from Pradhan to Pradhan Mantri, be it from small post to big post. They have the right to be on the post, on every post. And what BJP ka to slogan hai, "Chhalya mera naam, chalna mera kaam." Now today they're deceiving the women of India. They're openly deceiving the women of India. They've brought a women reservation bill which will only be implemented on 2029 because they have put the clause of census and delimitation in it. If BJP was really serious about women empowerment, they could have got the bill in 2014, and by now, by 2024, it would be implemented, and in 2024 elections, it could be implemented, and for the states which have, the 5 states which have Vidhan Sabha elections, it could have been implemented then also. But see, BJP is a party which didn't speak for 7 minutes, which didn't want to speak in the house for 7 minutes also for women of Manipur who were paraded naked in presence of police. They didn't wish to speak for 7 minutes also for them in the house. But for votes today, BJP is talking about women for 7 hours. But it's of no use. It's of no use now.
Okay.
BJP has all the votes, and the by-elections that took place in various states are openly showing that BJP has lost the votes. Nobody.
Okay, all right. On the issue of the OBC quota, let Neeti come in, then I'll go back across to Professor Subodh as well.
You know, Shivani, I find it rather hypocritical that an entire opposition that wants to eradicate the entire Hindutva because they believe that it is about the caste system and they cannot get over this matter.
Stop talking.
That said, I think you've explained it very clearly. Madam, please, you have been historically against the women reservation bill since Mulayam Singh ji. यहाँ बैठकर अभी ज्ञान मत दीजिए. You have been historically against the women reservation bill. You are the main reason it wasn't implemented.
Okay,
You're
okay.
sitting here and आप हमें ज्ञान दे रही हैं.
Nahid ji, now you had your
2014
say.
से financial inclusion, social inclusion is what we have had.
No, Nahid ji,
please
you've
don't give
had
us
your say
ज्ञान
now.
sitting
Can
here.
you please
You
allow
have
the
been
other
the
panelists to
reason.
speak? I don't want this interruptions because then either of you is not going to be heard or understood properly. Neeti, very quickly, please.
So the only point that I'm trying to make is that the agitation that the opposition is showing today is very hypocritical, because these are the people who have been the reasons for this bill not to have passed for so long. The OBC, I think you've explained it sufficiently. The
which supports rapists. You support rapists. Your MPs, MLAs are rapists. Be it Unnao case, be it in Shahjahanpur case, be it in Hathras case. Your MPs, MLAs are rapists. And what about your MP? What about your
जिनको अब हम लोग आकर संभाल रहे हैं,
protecting him.
समाजवादी
Can I just come in? Can I just come in? Nahid ji, one second, just lower their audios, please. Nahid ji, I would appreciate that we are discussing the women's reservation bill. Let's discuss the merits and the clauses of the bill. Let's not bring it to this politicking that we can do 365 days. Besides, you've had your say now. Ma'am, you'll have to also accord other people the time they need on the debate. Neeti, I believe you've made your point. I'm sorry you were interrupted a couple of times, but I want to go across to Professor Subodh as well. There is a pattern emerging, Professor Subodh, of a demand being, raised again and again now of the caste census. That demand, of course, in Bihar has gained a lot of traction. Recently, Sonia Gandhi's letter to the Prime Minister included that demand. And I believe a lot of the India bloc parties are raising that demand again. Why do you think the caste census is so important? Let's leave the argument of the OBC quota for women reservation aside, because I think it's fair for all of us to agree on the fact that it's not possible legally as it stands today. The moment the OBC quota was to be included, it would have been struck down by courts. It has happened for other state legislation. So let's leave that aside. But why is it this renewed demand for caste census in India by parties like yourself?
Look, this is not a new demand, neither a renewed demand. Our party and our party president, respected Lalu Prasad Yadav ji, has always raised this demand right from the BP Singh government to Devgaura government to Bajpayee government. But when we came to power in UPA first, we raised this issue, and in 2011 census, along with the census, we had a socio-economic caste census. That data was with the union government, and in 2016, the then Minister Arun Jaitley said in the parliament that this is the data has been corrupt. But in 2017, the Registrar General of India and even the Parliamentary Committee said that the data is corrupt free, 99.9% it is corrupt free. But even till now, we don't see any caste census data till now. But in 2021, we wanted that the caste data should have been there, and BJP was part and parcel of the state government when we together as assembly passed there should be a caste census, and the BJP government at the center should go for a caste census. But it has not been done, and even the census has been stopped by the BJP, and it will only continue after 2024 national election is over and the new government is formed. Why they want to do so? They want to do so in order to hide the deeds that they have done. They have owned the villages, they have given a toilet and everything. They have made different policies. Everything would have been, doodh ka doodh and pani ka pani. It would have been
those
clear.
schemes
But
are different. There is data on ground to show the deliverability of those schemes, and that data is not under question. And even the targets of those
I am telling you, let
schemes.
me speak my mind.
One second. You can speak your mind, sir, but you cannot. You have to be factual in what you say. First of all, the census has not been stopped by a party.
I am very factual.
One second, the census has not been stopped by any party. The census was not conducted due to COVID.
No. This census was already getting conducted after the COVID also. It was stopped last year, and it was said that it will continue after once the national government is formed, another in 2024 election. But coming to the caste census, I have told you, it is our principal plank, and if there is any disease, then there should be a target-oriented policies, and in order to have a larger welfare structure of our
okay, fair enough. You made that point. I just wanted to draw a difference and a distinction between the demand for the OBC quota in the women's reservation bill versus the demands for a caste census for OBC numbers. That's a separate demand. And of course, there is a famous interview of Mr. Kharge, also Congress leaders also, because during Karnataka elections, I remember this thing had come up. And the 2011 census, which was the last census conducted in India, even the OBC data of that census was never released. So you should ask your alliance partners also why they never did it. But in any case, I have limited time. I'll give both now.
अद्यधीन मत विभाजन का परिणाम इस प्रकार है। हाँ 454 454, 454, ना 2। प्रस्ताव की कुल सदस्य संख्या के बहुमत द्वारा सभा के उपस्थित और मतदान देने वाले सदस्यों के कम से कम 2/3 बहुमत द्वारा पारित हुआ। अब सभा विधेयक पर खंडवार विचार करेगी। श्री N.K. प्रेमचंदन, क्या आप संशोधन संख्या 4, 5, 6 और 7 प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं?
Sir, 1 minute. Sir, I have given notice of amendments to clause 2, clause 3 and clause 4. Almost all the amendments are one and the same. So I may be given 2 minutes to just to elucidate what is the scope of my amendment. Sir, the amendment is in almost all the clauses, as nearly as may be 1/3 of the seats reserved for the scheduled caste, as nearly as may be 1/3 of the total number of seats to be filled and by direct election. So my amendment is delete as nearly as may be, and my amendment and the operating portion shall be 1/3 of the total number of seats shall be filled by direct election. So shall be has to be incorporated, as nearly as may be omitted. Otherwise it will be creating utter confusion. Government is having the government is having the discretion to do at any time, as early as may be deleted, and it should be a mandatory provision that 1/3 of the seats should be reserved for the women who are entitled for getting reservation. This is my amendment. Kindly, sir, it is a harmless amendment. It can be accepted.
गृह मंत्री जी,
इसमें किसी भी सदस्य को संशय करने की जरूरत नहीं है। नियरली शब्द प्रयोग केवल और केवल जहां 1/3 का भागाकार नहीं होता है वो संख्या के लिए रखा गया है, और ये भी डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन तय करेगी, गवर्नमेंट नहीं तय करेगी। तो कृपया आपका संशोधन आप वापस ले, ऐसा मेरा निवेदन।
Subject to that clarification, I am withdrawing the amendment.
ओके। असाउद्दीन ओवैसी जी, क्या आप संशोधन संख्या 37 प्रस्तुत करेंगे?
सर
आप खड़े हो जाओ, चालू हो जाएगा माइक।
सर, आई एम मूविंग माय अमेंडमेंट सर, एंड आई एम आस्किंग फॉर अ डिवीजन ऑन इट।
आपके पक्ष में कोई नहीं है। अल्लाह। ओके। प्रश्न ये कि संशोधन संख्या 37 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन 37। लोबियां पहले से खाली, अब खंड 2 को सभा के मतदान के लिए रखता हूं। प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 विधेयक का अंग बने, अब मत विभाजन।
Right, so the historic moment has transpired. 454 MPs of the Lok Sabha have voted in favor of the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. So the Nari Shakti bill has been passed in Lok Sabha for the first time in India's history. This is the women's reservation bill that seeks to reserve 33% of all seats in Lok Sabha, in state assemblies and Delhi Assembly for women, at least for a period of 15 years.
एक मिनट, कुछ कंफ्यूजन हो गया, क्लियर कर देता हूं मैं। एक मिनट क्लियर कर देता हूं। लोबियां पहले से खाली है। अब मैं खंड 2 सभा के मतदान के लिए रखता हूं। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 2 विधेयक का अंग बने। अब मत विभाजन हो गया क्लियर?
All right, it's been a historic vote. The Women's Reservation Bill has passed in Indian Lok Sabha for the very first time. 454 MPs have voted for it, only 2 votes against it. So it's an overwhelming majority that has voted for the bill, a bill whose time had come. Let me quickly take the first responses from our guests that continue to be with us. Nahid Lari Khan, let me give you 30 seconds. Would you concede this is a historic moment for all women politicians like yourself, and certainly a lot more women parliamentarians that we will see in times to come?
No, certainly every woman wanted that women reservation bill be passed. Every woman wanted, and it's certainly a historic moment. But whenever in history people will speak about women reservation bill, they will all talk about 1996 when it was Devi Gowda ji's government, and first time this bill came, a women reservation bill came, and even we, my party, even our party was in power that time, and Honorable Netaji was the defense minister. Now,
Okay.
Prior to this, we were discussing about caste census. See, Samajwadi parties always talked about caste census so that social justice is given to all, all people, especially OBC, SC and ST. Now, you cannot expect BJP to do caste census because BJP has given an affidavit in Supreme Court that they will not do caste census. Even in Bihar, when Bihar government was doing caste census, BJP approached the Supreme Court against Bihar government, but Supreme Court didn't pay any heed to BJP. Now, if you talk about OBC and SC and ST, see Rahul Gandhi ji, he is the leader of India Alliance. He has clearly stated that out of 90 secretaries in Indian government, only 3 secretaries are OBCs.
Okay, I think we heard the response of the Home Minister on that too, which is that the government can make policies. It cannot make secretaries. The government doesn't make secretaries on the basis of somebody's background. Although I should tell you, the BJP former president, Home Minister Amit Shah, also talked about how an overwhelming majority of their MPs are actually OBC MPs. So my point on the OBC issue is just this. It is not an issue of today. It is an issue that has been rolling over from government to government for many decades, and no government can claim that they have done what the demands have been in the past. These are not new demands, and there are some legal issues, some constitutional issues, but also political issues why this demand is not getting fulfilled. We will try to discuss this on an appropriate time, but Neeti, let me give you a minute too on the historic moment. Lok Sabha has for the first time now passed this bill. It was earlier passed only in Rajya Sabha, and it has been an overwhelming majority. I don't know who those 2 people are who voted against it, but maybe we'll get to know in time. But regardless of that, 450 plus MPs have voted in favor of it.
You know, I was going to say that I really want to know who those 2 people are who voted against it. But irrespective of that, I think this is a historical day. And to the spokesperson of Samajwadi Party, ma'am, I think failures are remembered lesser than the huge successes that we have gone to. And I hope Akhilesh ji will do you more justice than Mulayam ji would have, because you obviously said that the young women, if they come to parliament, young men will whistle at them. So I hope Akhilesh ji will give you more justice. But I don't want to get into that. I think it's a historical day for all women to celebrate, for all women to celebrate and be a part of the policy making that this country definitely will benefit from. So the vision and the execution from 50% of the population, I think this is historical. And tomorrow Rajya Sabha will see more debates, and let's hope it will pass too in Rajya Sabha as well.
All right, I believe some reactions will start coming in, but some of the amendments that have been proposed by some of the parliamentarians are also being put to vote. One of those amendments was to, on the language as nearly as may be, that should not be construed as less than 1/3. That was the doubt of one of the parliamentarians. The Home Minister reminded that that is only so that sometimes there is not a clear division of 1/3 as far as the strength of a house may be concerned, but it is going to be as much as 1/3 wherever possible. Yes, Professor Subodh, you wanted to come in too, a word on the historic moment today?
Yes, look, this is an incomplete bill, though we support the bill, women reservation bill, but this bill is incomplete. Primarily because the government has betrayed the majority women of this country who falls under the category of OBC. And regarding the legality and the constitutional amendment, government should stick to the constitutional morality. Government, when it comes to trifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir and 370 removing from the constitution, government can do that, but government cannot do justice to the OBC women which is there, which has been alienated from the decision making processes. This is the double face of Bharatiya Janata Party led by Narendra Modi. And moreover, when you look to the caste census, time and again we have said that BJP is the party which has objected to the caste census in India, and they have come indirectly to the Supreme Court also. And many a time Supreme Court has given a verdict against the person or against the organization which is against the caste system. Look to the caste survey that we are conducting in Bihar. For that also, some of the organization of the BJP has gone to the Supreme Court. So our assumption is that, and our principal plank is that the OBC women has been cheated by the so-called Prime Minister who considered himself as an OBC. Okay?
All right.
And
sir, you made all of those points. I request you to please not repeat the same things. Yes, Niti, why don't you take 30 seconds and respond to what both of your political opponents are saying, that ultimately you've not done justice to OBC women either. Forget about other parliamentarians, but even to OBC women, you've not done the justice that your government could have done. Please respond.
See, we have done the justice in our party and nothing is stopping them to do so. We have been restrained constitutionally to bring about the changes that they wanted in this bill. But the only double face that we see today is the opposition, because on one hand they want the caste and on the other hand they want to eradicate entire Hindutva because they think that is about the caste. So I think the spokespersons here today should make it clear, are they standing with DMK when they say that the Hindutva should be eradicated because it is all about caste, or do they stand with their own stand today? They cannot have this double speak on the same issue over different topics. So they cannot do politics of convenience as it suits them. Let them take a stand. We were constitutionally bound to not bring in what they wanted in the bill, and that remains a handicap for us because the constitution says so. But let them take a stand on what I have asked.
Okay, like I said, OBC quota at the parliament level does not exist as it stands today. It cannot be carved out legally. Should the process politically and legally happen, as far as bringing in such a quota is concerned, one second sir, that process has been ongoing for a while. There are certain reasons why no government has been able to do this. Like I said, those include legal constitutional issues plus political issues. But on a day like today, let's also take a moment to acknowledge that the Women's Reservation Bill has been passed for the first time in Indian Lok Sabha. And of course, this passed by an overwhelming majority. On that note, I really do have to slip into a very short break. I do thank our political guests for joining us. My colleague from News18.com, Aman Sharma, is also with us, with whom on the other side of this break, I will also take forward the discussion on the import of this bill passing. Both, of course, as far as socially is concerned, but also politically. Stay tuned for that.
There are local or domestic political compulsion that is the reason why Canadian government has been reluctant to act against these perpetrators of Khalistani terrorism in Canada, and even more, they have been at times siding along with these terrorist groups and terrorist sympathizers in Canada, and that has been a real security concern for Indian officials, Indian diplomats, deputed in Canada, Indian community members who have been living in Canada, the Sikh, Hindu and other groups from India who have been living in harmony and peace in Canada for the last several decades. But in recent years, these elements, these fringe elements that Canadian government has called in the name of freedom of expression and democratic right to protest, they have tried to create a rift among the community member, and they have also raised some serious security concerns for India, for its sovereignty and territorial integrity when they tried to call for secessionist referendum and a separate Khalistani state. So probably Canadian government is trying to look away from all those point of view of India's concern and trying to just portray India as a killer who has gone, who has become an extrajudicial killer in a foreign land, without putting substantial evidences in the public domain.
As I've said, India, the government of India, needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness. We are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them, and we want to work with the government of India to lay everything clear and to ensure that there is proper process.
After Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, has alleged Indian agencies' role in killing of dreaded terrorist from Khalistan group, Hardeep Signature in Canada in earlier this year in the month of June. There has been massive diplomatic fallout between the two sides. There has been expulsion of diplomats, senior diplomats from both the sides, and now Canada has also started to advise its citizens to have some caution in particular areas while traveling to India. The latest advisory that has been updated just 2 days ago has been, for India, says that the people in Canada who are traveling to India should avoid all travel to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir due to the unpredictable security situation. There is a threat of terrorism, militancy, civil unrest and kidnapping. This advisory excludes travelling to or within the Union Territory of Ladakh, and Canada has stated the advisory for India, marking it an exercise, a high degree of caution. That caution has clearly come in the wake of allegation that Justin Trudeau has made based on certain evidences that he has only with him. He has not shared with his parliamentarian colleagues or with opposition leaders in Canada or with any of the member countries of G7 or Five Eyes with whom he has been expecting some kind of support. In fact, there has been reports that says that USA has expressed its reluctance to be siding with Canada on the issue of Canadian government's uproar on alleged role of Indian agency on the killing of that terrorist in Canada. Justin Trudeau has also not got enough support from Australia, US, UK or France. Australia, US and UK, they have expressed their official statement, they're expressing their deep concern over the issue, and they have broadly opinionated that the law will take its own course and the law should continue its further investigation. Justin Trudeau is yet to give any solid evidence or substantiate what allegation he has put against India, charging Indian agencies' role. And meanwhile, we have seen multiple, groups in Canada. They have expressed their opinion on the issue. Canadian opposition leaders are asking for more evidences. There are pro, MPs from Liberal Party of Justin Trudeau's party. They have expressed that okay, the law will take its own course, and they would like investigation to further go and reveal facts. But what facts, what evidence Justin Trudeau has with him on which he has raised this issue at such a high diplomatic level, that remains a mystery. We have it is unprecedented that Canadian government has expelled a senior Indian diplomat who was chief or of RNW in Canada, stationed in Canada. Reciprocating the same, Indian side has also expelled a senior diplomat from Canada, and this has further nosedived the already downsliding bilateral relationship just a week ago, Canadian government has also put a pause on the free trade agreement that India and Canada have been negotiating. So probably Justin Trudeau already had in mind what he was going to announce a week later, and in that context, he had paused those free trade agreement deal with India. Also, the latest travel advisory that has been announced by the Canadian side, they have been continuously asking Canadian citizens to avoid going to places where the militancy could be a problem, security issues could be a problem. Canadian Prime Minister has also said that India needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness, and we are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. So in a way, he was trying to bring down his anger with India when he was saying that he is not trying to provoke India, just that he wants to have an investigation and cooperation from the Indian side. India has already turned the allegation as an absurd and motivated, saying, in the past also we have seen External Affairs Minister saying that there are local or domestic political compulsion that is the reason why Canadian government has been reluctant to act against these perpetrators of Khalistani terrorism in Canada, and even more, they have been at times siding along with these terrorist groups and terrorist sympathizers in Canada, and that has been a real security concern for Indian officials, Indian foreign Indian diplomats, deputed in Canada, Indian community members who have been living in Canada, the Sikh, Hindu, and other groups from India who have been living in harmony and peace in Canada for the last several decades. But in recent years, these elements, these fringe elements that Canadian government has called in the name of freedom of expression and democratic right to protest, they have tried to create a rift among the community member, and they have also raised some serious security concerns for India, for its sovereignty and territorial integrity when they tried to call for secessionist referendum and a separate Khalistani state. So probably Canadian government is trying to look away from all those point of view of India's concern and trying to just portray India as a killer who has gone who has become an extrajudicial killer in a foreign land, without putting substantial evidences in the public domain.
As I've said, India, the government of India, needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness. We are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them, and we want to work with the government of India to lay everything clear and to ensure that there is proper process.
After Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister has alleged Indian agencies' role in killing of dreaded terrorist from Khalistan group, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, in Canada in earlier this year in the month of June. There has been massive diplomatic fallout between the two sides. There has been expulsion of diplomats, senior diplomats from both the sides, and now Canada has also started to advise its citizens to have some caution in particular areas while traveling to India. The latest advisory that has been updated just 2 days ago has been for
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. The Women's Reservation Bill has been passed by Lok Sabha by an overwhelming majority. 454 MPs have voted for, just 2 against. We wonder who that could be. But the proceedings are not over, as the visuals on your screen show, because some of the amendments that have been moved by parliamentarians are still being put to vote. One of the last amendments that was being put to vote was moved by Assaduddin Owaisi, who of course has said that he is against this bill. Possibly the only party that may have been voted against it, but we'll wait for confirmation. Our political editor News18.com is also joining us. Aman Sharma with me. Aman, quite a big day. First time that Lok Sabha has passed this bill.
Absolutely. I think a historic day in the history of Indian democracy. The Lok Sabha passing the Women's Reservation Bill with such overwhelming majority, though many parties had certain objections to the bill, but still nobody could say openly that they will vote against the bill. The Congress, the BJP has voted in favor of the bill. The bill has been passed, and I think what Mr. Amit Shah said was also very important when he said that the bill will be passed now, and soon after the 2024 Lok Sabha election there will be a census. Soon after there will be delimitation, and soon after the bill will be a reality. So that means in a way the government is saying, okay, before 2029 Lok Sabha elections, women's reservation will be rolled out in the country. And though Sonia Gandhi said that the bill should be implemented immediately and there should be OBC reservations, obviously there are challenges to that, Shivani. Without a census, you can't bring new reservation in. That's the Constitution's Article 82 says. So you have to wait for the census. But I think the passing of the bill, as PM said yesterday, yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai, and he is the chosen one to get this bill passed. And I think the BJP very clearly saying in Amit Shah's address also, it was very clear that Congress is now saying कि इसको immediately आप pass करिए. But what did the Congress do between 2010 and 2014 when they didn't even bring the bill to the Lok Sabha? So where was the urgency then? Clearly Congress did not want to offend its allies or even some within its party by bringing the bill to Parliament. But BJP has succeeded in doing that, getting the bill passed in Lok Sabha, and we'll soon see it hopefully passed in the Rajya Sabha
tomorrow as well. The other big issue that has been kicked up because of the women's reservation bill is the OBC quota within the women's reservation, which again, as we know, is legally not possible. But the second thing connected to that is this renewed vigor in the demand for a caste census. Some of the regional parties in UP, Bihar have been making this demand. Sonia Gandhi's recent letter to the Prime Minister included a caste census. Rahul Gandhi has been talking about it. Mallikarjun Kharge has been talking about it. And that seems to be one of the factors uniting the India bloc, which is pushing the government for a caste census and, on the basis of that OBC reservation.
Absolutely. I think the caste census is the new agenda of the opposition. I think for 2024 we'll see it. I think Rahul Gandhi said this for the first time during the last assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh, when he said for the first time that if we come to power in the centre, we'll order a caste census.
I remember, Aman, sorry for interrupting you, even during Karnataka elections this issue had come up. When Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, I remember, had said कि आप 2011 का जो caste census, जो census हुआ है, उसका caste data reveal करो.
Absolutely. They have been demanding, and obviously this demand was championed by Nitish Kumar and the RJD. They even taken a joint, Bihar's all-party delegation had come to meet the Prime Minister last year and asked for the caste census. But obviously the centre has said no to a caste census, saying that we haven't done it since for decades now, and there is no policy to do a caste census. But I think the effort here of the opposition, Shivani, is not really so much caring for the OBCs. It is more to put the
government on the back foot.
BJP in the back foot, saying that you do not back the OBCs. While the BJP today, Amit Shah made it very clear that this government is led by an OBC leader in the Prime Minister.
And majority of their parliamentarians are OBC.
So I think that is the new politics that we're going to see through this bill. And the interesting part is that when Congress brought this bill in 2010, they never included OBC reservation for women in their own bill. In fact, there's a recommendation from way back in 1996 that this should be done. But neither the Congress nor the BJP have done this. So in a way, even the Congress is sounding a bit hypocritical by now saying you haven't brought the OBC reservation.
Because Virappa Moily at that time had talked about how it is not possible legally because there is no provision for an OBC quota. Sonia Gandhi had said at that time that even within this 33% women reservation, nobody is stopping you. That is the political parties that were asking for an OBC quota. She said nobody is stopping you from giving tickets to OBC women and even minority women. So that's always something that you could do.
Absolutely. And I think that is something that the BJP may not dare the other parties, that okay, you are saying that OBC quota is not there. You are saying women's reservation bill, why is it kicking in 2029? Why don't parties voluntarily take this step and start giving 1/3 women reservation in 2024 itself and start giving tickets to OBC women in that same proportion? The proof of the pudding will lie in its eating. Let the parties come forward and do it. And I'm sure, Shivani, BJP will try and match it to a great extent when the 2024 list, I think, comes out. BJP will be giving a lot more tickets to women this time to just send out that message.
Well, that healthy competition would be good between all the political parties. Aman, thanks a lot for joining us. Historic day in Lok Sabha today, and it will be possibly a historic day in Rajya Sabha tomorrow. To take this and much more forward, Anand Narasimhan is joining you.
And welcome to this edition of the Right Stand. 454 for, 2 against. That's the score in the Lok Sabha for the Mahila Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, or the Women's Reservation Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, the much awaited long-standing demand for this bill, the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, has been passed in the Lok Sabha, and it will come up in the Rajya Sabha on Thursday, where the bill will be debated for nearly 7.5 hours. Now,